And I remember that day when I took that picture and I looked outside and I asked myself, is this going to be the rest of my life? I realized I am wishing lifetime away. Time is literally the most precious thing that we have in our lives. Wishing it away is the dumbest thing you can do. I was then sitting there with my laptop and thinking to myself, that's it? Like, is that the dream? Some people will be jealous and maybe try to drag you down. I've got so much crap on social media. But at least now I've built up the confidence that I know if somebody's giving me that crap, like it has a lot to do with them and how they feel about themselves and nothing to do with like me, actually me. I listen to my body because it doesn't matter if it's because of an illness or hormonal changes or a flu. Like it doesn't really matter why my body doesn't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, I am the one who can do something about it.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the One Way Ticket podcast. My name is Leanne, and in this podcast, I like to talk to people about their story behind their one way ticket. This podcast is inspired by a quote of Steve Jobs, which says, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking back." So we dive into the important moments, mindset shifts, and choices that led them to take the leap. And together, we connect the dots of their story to inspire you to trust yours. And today I'm with Samira. I met Samira like 1.5 years ago in Da Nang. It was like briefly.
Yeah.
I think we worked once together and then you moved on, I think.
Yes.
Back to Koh Lanta.
I was staying in Hoi An and I just came
Hoi An.
for like a night for a friend's birthday.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. And I think 6 months already again. We met here in Lombok. We are in Lombok right now. And it's really funny how you came, because I think you were only for 2 weeks for an visa run, if I remember right.
It was actually a dive trip.
A dive trip.
I was in Komodo on a dive trip.
Yeah.
I was based in Da Nang back then, and I just came here for a holiday, for
Yeah.
a diving holiday. Then came to Lombok to visit some friends here, and it took me 2 days, and I fell in love with the place, and I decided to make it my home.
2 days, and then she said,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give up my apartment in Da Nang and move here.
When you know, you know.
So crazy. And for me, you've been traveling a long time. Like for me, it's 2.5 years now, but you're like a grandma.
Oh, well, I'm not going to take that personal. Yeah, I've been on the road for 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years.
Yeah, I'm like a nomad, like
Yeah.
an oldie nomad
An
for
oldie,
sure.
like, yeah.
There was no Starlink when I started, and I still remember being like in Colombia, and every time you could see the clouds rising on the horizon, and bad weather was coming on, you knew you were not going to have any internet, no phone reception at all. Like that was 2017.
2017.
So that was wild. Yeah.
Crazy. I'm so annoyed when I don't have Wi-Fi for like 10 seconds.
I mean, same. Like, I also do live in the time now, and I got used to it.
Okay, but can you take me back, like, to the Samira before traveling? What was she like?
Wow, Samira was a party girl. Samira was a rave girl.
Rave girl.
I was a rave girl. I'm from Berlin.
Yeah.
So I grew up really well enjoying going out, enjoying parties, and I made that my job in my early 20s. So I became an event manager. I worked in a nightclub agency. So I was a booking agent. I
Yeah.
was a touring agent for international techno DJs. Traveling around the world, living the well, I don't want to say sex, drugs, and rock and roll because I was probably too high for the first, but definitely drugs and rock and roll. And yeah, just partied. So that was Samira.
So, as I know you now, it's like there's two way different Samiras. Or is there still a party girl?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
of course. I mean, if you want to go out here and have a good night, like give
You
me
go
a
to the
call.
service bar.
But do you? See, I don't even know. I've been there, I think, like once. Yeah, I think I've been there once in 6 months.
Where do you normally
So,
go?
To bed.
To bed. To bed.
Yeah.
But you're party. I mean, when you go partying.
Well, I think look, I went to Germany in the summer, and then I
Yeah.
went to a festival with my friends, and like I danced like for a whole night,
Yeah.
and that kind of filled my cup for a while.
Ah, okay.
So if I want to go out here, like I'd rather go to like a nice bar and like have a nice
Ah.
glass of wine.
That
Like
I can join.
real proper rave. I mean, I can do that like once or twice a year, and I love it. But it's not a like every weekend or even every month thing anymore. I think I just like my clear head too much, and I
Yeah.
like my health too much.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do go to a party, I really enjoy it, and I
Yeah.
love dancing. So
Nice. Okay, and like party, what else did you do? Because at some point you were like, I'm too bored here, maybe.
yeah, well, besides of the like when you go out so much and you kind of numb yourself every weekend or sometimes during week. And um, your self-esteem, or well, at least my self-esteem at the time, really depended on what value other people would give me and what value my work would have for other people. So if I'm a good agent, if I'm being reliable, if I don't know, like the routes that I book for my DJs make sense, make them happy, if I do good events, then that gives me value.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really have any way to create that value within myself for
Yeah.
me. And I was also very stressed. I was also working a lot,
Mm-hmm.
not taking care of myself, not working out, not eating properly, most times not eating at all, to be fair. So I wasn't really taking care of myself at all. And I got sick. So when I was 23, when I was 23 years old, I got a optic nerve infection.
Mm-hmm.
That was whilst finishing my training to be an event manager, and I was diagnosed with MS, so
Yeah.
multiple sclerosis,
Yeah.
and that's an autoimmune disease of the nervous system. So it causes inflammation in the nervous system, and it can basically affect any bodily function, as your nervous system controls every
Yeah.
bodily function. And you can picture MS. I always tell people to imagine it like your nerves are a cable, and these cables, they have like a plastic layer around
Mm-hmm.
it to protect the cable. And what MS does, it causes inflammation in that plastic thing, and it breaks, and then the nerve gets damaged and
Ooh.
cannot forward the the tasks from the brain anymore. And that leads to people being unable to walk sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
having slurred speech, having problems controlling, well, any of their bodily functions, basically. So that happened when I was 23. I got diagnosed with that. I wasn't very disabled early on. I had
Yeah.
had a few relapses, so it happens in like relapses. So sometimes you're very sick, and then sometimes most people go back to quite normal. And I got this
So kind of
diagnosis.
phases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's different forms, but that's the one that I have, where you have
Mm-hmm.
like acute phases, and then also like long phases between where nothing really happens. But I didn't really I think I didn't really connect that to me. Like it almost felt so surreal. Like, what do you mean I'm sick? Like, I don't feel that bad. And I just pushed that illness down in my head. I thought, if I don't think about it, if I just continue my life normally, if I don't change any single thing, it'll not affect me. And I understand that thought, and I have compassion with myself looking back at that thought. But in the end, the life that I was leading, at least it didn't save me from getting sick. I would probably say for myself, I would say that life made me sick.
Yeah.
So then wanting to continue that very same life just to not be sick, is that doesn't make sense. But I didn't know I was 23.
Yeah.
So I continued for a few years in that party phase, and yeah, so it's not like I was bored in my life. I got woken up in another way, I would say.
Mm. Yeah. So not boredom, but more. Would you say escaping some parts within yourself by partying so much?
Probably. For me, I think it was a big desire of belonging
Mm-hmm.
that I never really felt so much in like my school years and my teenage years. Like, I was always more of kind of like an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny because now all the people here that live like cool, exciting lives were kind of like the ones who have been bullied
Yeah.
in school back then. So I love that for us. It's like, no, we're having the cool life, bitches.
Don't peak too high
Yeah,
in
yeah.
younger age, right? Yeah.
So so it was in a way maybe escaping from the big question, who am I when I'm not um when there's not so much noise around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always make sure there was noise around me, so I wouldn't hear the noise inside of me. And maybe the sadness, and maybe the big questions that you have in your 20s, like, what do I want to do with my life? Why am I here for? What's
Mm-hmm.
my purpose? What do I stand for? Who am I? All these big questions, I was kind of avoiding those, I think, by just
Yeah.
putting a label on me and being like, well, I'm an agent, or like I work in the music industry, and that was who I was for me.
Yeah.
um yeah. So was I escaping my life then? I think I always really loved traveling. I know I always loved traveling. I always loved going places. I think the first time I went to Thailand with a backpack, I was 14, like with
For
with
what?
my family, with my mom.
Oh. I was like,
But we
what?
went backpacking. Like, we did like the
Yeah.
whole like sleeper train stuff. Like, it was not like a
Ah,
fancy
okay.
resort. You
Yeah.
can give it a little swirl so it doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, like this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
much easier.
Yeah. It's better. I can air now again.
um So I had always loved traveling. And through my work as an agent, as a touring agent, I
Mm-hmm.
still continue to travel. I was going with my
Yeah.
DJs to like Beirut, and we went to Turkey and Panama and Colombia, and like amazing places, amazing places.
But I think that's also very like heavy for your body to do this kind of job because you have jet lags all the time, and then also you're the one in charge. You have
Yeah,
to relieve everything from the stress of a jet lag of a very tight schedule.
yeah. Well, I'm a quite organized person, so it came really natural for me
Mm-hmm.
organizing that, and I don't know, being responsible as a 24-year-old for men in their mid 30s, I guess.
Yeah.
It came very natural to me. And probably it was very stressful for my body to do
Mm-hmm.
that, but I was not even in touch with myself enough
Yeah.
to
To
notice.
notice. Yeah.
I didn't have that access to my own body to even ask myself, am I tired?
Mm-hmm.
That was not, it wasn't even a question that I knew how to ask myself.
Yeah. So do you think the illness you got was like literally a break sign from your body that were like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
we did too
absolutely.
much?
Absolutely. It's you can only ignore your body for so long, and at some point it will be so loud and scream at you so loudly that you can't ignore it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it didn't put immediate brakes on me, as I said, I wasn't severely disabled from one day to the other or anything
Yeah.
like that. So I had a few years of getting adjusted to that new, well, factor in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So the realization of I really need to make a change in my life actually didn't come with a bang. Like it came over the years and it came slowly. And but once I dared to listen and I dared to understand that changing my life is an option that I have, this knowledge became so loud that I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah. So you started learning to listen to your body when you were sick. Could I say that?
Yeah.
And at what point did you found out that your body was like, we want to travel? What? How did that feel? Did it really feel like I wanted to travel, or was it something like I want to travel and then I'm going to feel better? Or how does that feel?
Well, first of all, winters in Berlin were always the hardest time
Yeah.
of my life. Like
Yeah.
it was so bad. Like actually yesterday I logged into Facebook because I was using a Facebook group for something, and I had you know how Facebook gives you like these memories.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a memory pop up from exactly 10 years ago of me photographing out of my office window the gray Berlin early December now,
Mm-hmm.
and like what I wrote with it. And I remember that day when I took that picture and I looked outside and I asked myself, is this going to be the rest of my life?
Oh yeah.
Is this going to be part of the rest of like is this going to be like 6 months every year of my life for the rest of my life? And I was always sick in winter, like I was like it was like an ongoing sickness. I'm super
Mm-hmm.
sensitive to cold, so the cold
Mm-hmm.
was really just no good for me. And all I was thinking about all winter long was when it would finally be whatever, January, February, when I would have like my 3 week leave and I could go travel to Malaysia or Thailand or
Yeah.
Nicaragua or
Something where there's
somewhere where it's
sun.
warm.
Yeah.
And I realized I am wishing lifetime away. I wish it was already February now. I wish it was already March. That means I wish I could skip 3 months of my life just so I could be in the warm again. Time is literally the most precious thing that we have in our
Mm.
lives. Wishing it away is the dumbest thing you can do. That's dumb. If your life consists of you wishing half of your life away
Mhm.
so it would go faster, you really need to make a change.
But that's a pretty harsh thing, I think, to say, like for people that are doing that right now, right? What was the point that you were like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to wish I was like 3 months ahead in my life.
I think a big change was made when I met my first digital nomad. I
Mhm.
was traveling. It was I think 2014 2014 or something. So it was like 1 year after my diagnosis, and I took my first solo travel trip. I went to Bali, as we do. And I
There's
was
enough nomads.
well, it was 2014, so there
Oh,
weren't that
wait.
many.
Yeah,
It
true,
was
actually.
11 years ago. Oh, I'm aging myself. So yeah, I was early 20s, went on my first backpacking trip, and then I was taking the boat to the Gillies, which is funny because I'm going there tomorrow as well. So I was taking this boat to the Gillies, and this guy was sitting there with his laptop. And that was not a common sight back then still. And he told me, like, he's a digital nomad. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, I make money from my laptop whilst I'm on the road. And I was like, what? Like, he was building websites or something. And obviously, many people think this is kind of like the only thing like coding or website building that you can do to be a nomad. So I was like, well, I can't do that. But then it kicked off something in me where I was like, this is an option. People live like this. And that paired with the story of my illness and this wake up call, me realizing time is ticking every single day that we live, was kind of like the all of that together really pushed me towards building, well, start building the foundation of the life that I'm leading now.
And it was?
The foundation of
Yeah.
that, you mean? First thing I did was I bought a book that thick about blogging. So how blogging is done, because I'm a writer, so I wanted to do something with writing. And then I thought, well, back then we were still bloggers. We weren't influencers, we were bloggers. So I wanted to start a blog. So I learned WordPress with a book that, it's so funny. It's like, I mean, now it sounds so like so weird that you would learn blogging and like WordPress with a book. But that's what I
You
did.
did.
So yeah, and I was asking myself, what could I be writing about that could interest people? And then the question that you can always ask yourself is, what makes your story unique? And then, there were different things that I was considering that made me unique. But my illness definitely was something that was unique in a way. And it was also something that, well, back then it took up a lot of headspace. You know that nowadays it doesn't really play a role for me anymore. I hardly think about it anymore. But back then it was obviously a big thing. So I kind of wanted to take my future readers on that journey with me of breaking free, maybe writing a book, traveling the world. I didn't really have a business model when I when I
Yeah.
left. I had savings. I remember 2015 or 16. Then I said, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and I gave myself 1 year to save up 10,000 euros. And back then, for me, that was an unimaginable amount of money, and more money than I have ever had in my whole life. I come from a very, very, simple family, let's
Yeah.
say. No support from my mother, or like there was no financial support from that direction. Lots of other support, but not
Yeah.
financial. So I gave myself 1 year to save up 10,000 euros, and I worked my full-time job at the booking agency. 1 day a week I dedicated to working on the blog, and once or twice a week I would work in a cafe or I was actually selling Polish food, pierogi, in Berlin, and making money on the side of working in bars and nightclubs to make money. So I left with 10,000 euros and an idea to figure out how to make money, but no concrete plan yet how to make it work financially.
Okay. So for you, the 10K was like a safety net for you, maybe mentally and also, yeah, actually physically too, of course. And then you took the leap. You went somewhere. Where did you go?
Yeah. So I would say my journey started off with the Camino de Santiago, which is a pilgrimage in Europe. Jakobsweg in German. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've heard of it.
No?
So Santiago de Compostela is a city in Spain like a and there's a church, and there's a very famous pilgrimage that can lead you over thousands of kilometers to Santiago de Compostela. And I decided I would walk 600 kilometers all by myself, and that I did. So I walked 600 kilometers to Santiago, and that was like my first, like, that really kicked off my journey.
Yeah, achievement kind of thing.
Yeah, like that's when I realized I'm really free, because obviously I also didn't work for that month, apart from writing down my diary of that pilgrimage, which is also the first book that I then published. And that's kind of how it started off. And after Spain, I went to Thailand, to Chiang Mai, because obviously that's where an aspiring nomad goes. And that was like that. I mean, the actual one-way ticket, if you want to call it like that, was Thailand,
Yeah.
not Spain, because I was still going back to Berlin, but it kicked off my journey.
But wait, I don't understand. Why did you decide to go to do that?
To the pilgrimage.
Yeah.
So multiple sclerosis has this fame of or like this reputation of that it puts people in wheelchairs.
Mm.
So we still have this image of like the MS patient is the person who's in the wheelchair and who
Mm-hmm.
can't walk. And about 2 years, I think, after the diagnose, I just came so much in contact on like on a trip somewhere and on a hike. I came so much in contact of how unfit physically I was, but it wasn't because of the MS. I was unfit because I was 25. I had never worked out. I hated everything workout related. Also because honestly, I was told my whole school days, every day, that like you're not good at sports.
Mm.
So I also didn't believe that I was good at sports because everybody told me I'm shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, like, and so, but it, like on this trip that I took some time back, I realized I'm not fit. I can't do with my body what I want to do. But right now, I still have the option. I could actually do what I
Yeah.
want to do. I'm not. That's not my sickness holding me back. I'm just being lazy and like I'm not putting the work in.
I'm not sure if you would call it lazy. Maybe also like anxious to fail. Maybe, as you say.
Both. I think both because there was also a lot of. I mean, if you don't have the habit of working out, then it feels like this immense
Mm.
mountain of ever conquering, and like the starting is the hardest, and that felt very hard to me. So I decided back then that I will take as many steps as I can before one day I cannot take any steps anymore. Be it because of my illness, which today I really don't think anymore that this is a problem. But I mean, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
what anything can happen. Like, you
Yeah.
can, you can lose your health any given moment, any day, any hour. Unfortunately, that's life. And I just said, I how silly would it be right now when I'm like at my healthiest to like not make the most of it? That would be so silly. So that's when I decided to walk. And then the pilgrimage, the idea for it really just came to me in my sleep. Like it called me, I would almost say. I woke up
Mm-hmm.
and I had dreamt about walking the Camino. And I'm like, that's so weird. Like I'm not Christian and it's a Christian
Yeah.
pilgrimage. But then I was like, okay, if it calls me, then
Let's
I guess
go.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Okay. And take me with you to like the first weeks in Thailand,
Hmm.
where you like was thinking, I'm going to be a digital nomad, but I don't know how. Like
Yeah.
you read a book, but
Yeah.
because I remember the first few weeks, me as a digital nomad, I don't know what am I gonna do now? Work online to do what?
Yeah. Well, I had already set myself this goal of publishing that book.
Ah,
So
okay.
I was already working on that book, but I do remember myself sitting in Chiang Mai in these like coffee shops completely unsuitable for working. Horrible place, horrible coffee. Like now that I look at it, it's like so cute because I was a tourist with a laptop. Like I was not a nomad. And I also remember staying at this Airbnb and I think it was like €6 a night. Like it was so shitty, but I was so broke. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I think my daily budget was like €7 or something. So like nine, like I was very broke in the
Yeah.
beginning. So I was just trying to like save as much as I could. And yeah, I was then sitting there with my laptop and thinking to myself, that's it? Like, is that the dream? Like, I was like lonely.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anyone. I didn't know how it works to find other nomads.
At the same, yeah.
Like now, it's like, of course, you find the WhatsApp groups, you find the communities, and then you go to the like meetups, and then it's smooth sailing
Yeah.
from there. In most places, but there I didn't know anyone, and I was just like, and I was like, so where are they? Where's my crowd?
Yeah.
No crowd.
No crowd. And looking back now, what is like the biggest lessons you have learned? You've traveled for then 7 years now.
Hmm. It's coming on to 8 actually. 2017, I started in 2025. Isn't that
Yeah.
8 years? That is 8 years.
Yeah, that's
I
8 years.
always say 7, but it's 8.
It's
Whoa. Eight's my lucky number. So, sorry, what was the question?
oh, like what are the like biggest mentally achievements you have
Oh,
achieved?
oh my God, everything. I'm a completely different person, I would say, than then. And also, you just have to say, I mean, I was 27, 28 when I started. I'm now 36.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also just a long time that went by. And naturally, you'll become like more mature. You'll become wiser. You'll become more yourself. So it's not just because of the travel, but I do think that the travel really accelerates um, accelerates that growth and that wisdom, especially when you do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had partnerships in between. And when I started, I also still had a boyfriend in Germany. So it's not like I felt like alone all the time. Actually, I think most of my nomad years have probably been in relationships, um, but some of them long distance. So I was on my own a
Yeah.
lot. And then when you're with yourself so much, you really have to learn to sit with yourself. And you also learn that whatever emotions I have right now and whatever emotions I invest and lean into will be affecting me and only me. Like if I have a shit day, it's not like I can like blame my boyfriend and be a bitch to him because I don't have one. So if I'm being a bitch, the only one affected is me. If I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, everything sucks, like, oh, why did they do that? Why is the weather like, the only one that I'm gonna bring down with that is me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. So you really learn how to sit with your emotions. And I wouldn't say control my emotions because I love my emotions and I'm still an emotional person. But you learn to maybe take a step back from them and not being so controlled and overwhelmed by them anymore.
Yeah.
Um, what is like the biggest change in me?
Well,
Um,
I think maybe also you told me your illness doesn't play a big role
oh yeah.
anymore in your
Oh yes,
life.
yeah, I even forgot to mention. Like, yeah, I'm not sick anymore, so that's also pretty cool. Yeah, it's quite interesting because I would say the first 2, 3, 4 years maybe I was still quite impacted by my illness, and then it just went away. So right now I don't have any symptoms anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think about it anymore. I'm not blogging about it or writing about it or making content about it anymore, which was a big change because over 7 years I had built up this reputation as the MS patient. I published books. I gave a TED talk. Like I have a fucking Wikipedia that says like she's the quintessential MS patient. Then I
Yeah.
looked at myself and I'm like, who am I trying to fool? Like that's not like that's like a past version of me, and that was very real and very authentic. But right now, it's just not authentic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. It's it's everywhere. If I Google myself, it's everywhere. And sometimes this is kind of making me feel like should I still be that version?
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else is kind of telling you that you are
Yeah.
this person. That's why I mention it. So but breaking free of these versions of ourselves is what really accelerates, and it's scary. Like for me right now, changing my niche and being more authentic and talking about other things that I'm passionate about is really scary because it's part of my business, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not even the income part mainly. It's mostly, I think, just the if I do this, I know who I am. If I do something different, I mean, I still know who I am, but maybe I'm opening myself up to be perceived and also judged by others online again, and that feels very scary
On a different level, maybe.
on a different level. And I've gotten my fair share of hate talking about MS and talking about you can still travel with MS, so you can still, even after you have an illness, you can still go for your dreams. I've gotten a lot of hate for that because people empathize, I think, more when you struggle, but when you're thriving, even though life has thrown a lot of shit at you, then some people will be jealous and maybe try to drag you down.
Mm.
So I've gotten so much crap on social media, but at least now I've built up the confidence that I know if somebody's giving me that crap, like it has a lot to do with them and how they feel about themselves,
Yeah.
and nothing to do with like me, actually me.
Yeah.
Maybe it has to do with the image of myself I put out there, but even that is curated by me. So they're not really hating me. They're hating on my content. Maybe they're having a bad day. Like I can sometimes even feel like empathy and be like, man, I'm like, you sound like you need a hug. You probably don't want it from me, but you sound like you need one.
Yeah, I feel like you must have been in a bad place to be negative about on social media because there's like, for example, if I have an argue with you and I say something mad, like I say something
Mean.
mean, there's like not so much time in between my emotions and putting that on you.
Mm.
But I feel like on social media there's so much in between, like time, like me seeing your video and then me going there to put a hateful comment. There's so much time in between that you can think
That you
of
could stop.
maybe it's not the right idea to put this there on the internet
Yeah.
because what the fuck am
Because
I
why
doing?
would I do that?
Yeah.
And I have like sometimes you have the impulse to say something whilst it's not mean, like maybe critical to some videos. And
Mhm.
I've deleted these comments and I've thought, is it necessary? Is it kind? And I'm like, no, it's not really kind. It's probably not going to make the other person feel great. And it's also just not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I mean, I usually try to hype people up, if anything, or just leave them alone. Like, I don't
Yeah,
also
leave
need to
them
have an
alone.
opinion on anything. I think by now our like feeds on Instagram and everything that is like given to us is so curated to our own likes, and
Mhm.
like we get served a world that is so curated to what we like that
Yes.
if anything comes to a world that we don't like, we are like so upset about it because how dare the world put something in our way that we're not interested in, or that doesn't um that doesn't mirror our own opinions.
Yeah.
I
Or
mean,
truth. It has to be our truth,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
That's I mean, that's not really, that makes us very unable to just ignore some things that aren't for us.
Yeah.
We can't, I mean, we can't take in everything that's around us.
Yeah.
We forget that skill.
Okay, and one thing I want to go back on is that you listen to your body more.
Mhm.
How do you do that like in a normal day during your life right now?
So this listening to your body is really something that I had to learn through illness.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst I don't really have symptoms anymore and it doesn't really affect me anymore, it's still somewhere there, you know. So if I really overdo it for a while, I will know and my body will feel bad. And then also I listen to my body because it doesn't matter if it's because of an illness or hormonal changes or a flu. Like that, it doesn't really matter why my body doesn't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, I am the one who can do something about it. Um, so what a day like listening to my body will look like, for example, I do have a pretty good workout routine. I go to the gym almost every day. But if I wake up and I feel like, oh my, I'm like in pain, I can't get out of bed, see myself snoozing a lot, like then I think to myself, is today maybe a day for a different kind of movement than lifting weights? Like
Yeah.
maybe today I can just do some yin yoga, or I can go for a walk. And it's not like this happens every day and I have to ask myself every day, can I go to the gym? Because I think then I wouldn't have that healthy routine.
Mm-hmm.
But when it happens occasionally, once a month or something like that, that I really, or twice a month, that I really feel like, nah, today's not the day, then I don't force myself and push
Yeah.
myself, because I know that I am a person who works out and goes to the gym. And just because I don't do it for one day or 2 days, it doesn't change
Who
who
you
I
are.
am.
Yeah.
And I know that the sooner I rest, the sooner I can restart. So these are easy rules that I live by. Living in touch with my body also really means like eating, um, and really listening to hunger cues, appetite,
Mm-hmm.
and cues of fullness. So
What do you exactly mean by that?
yeah, so if I'm about to eat something, I ask myself, what do I feel like eating, first of
Mm-hmm.
all? And many people think if they ask themselves that, they will want to only eat cake and pizza every single
Mm-hmm.
day. Honestly, I got over only wanting to eat pizza and cake every day because I first gave into it for a while. It was like an experience. I was like, I'm gonna just eat what I want to eat.
Yeah.
But I tell you, after you've done that for 2 weeks, you've eaten all the pizza and all the cake, and then you're just like actually gonna crave some vegetables. So I'm at this point now where I ask myself, what do I want to eat? Like, do I feel like like eggs or like protein or like a smoothie? I love smoothie bowls, so something sweet, and then I just have that,
No.
and I stop when I'm full.
Okay.
And I ask myself, even am I hungry? Like, if I'm not hungry, I don't need to have breakfast. If I'm not hungry, I don't need to have dinner. If I'm not hungry, I don't need to have lunch. Just because it's 1 p.m.,
Yeah.
I mean, what? Does the clock
Yeah.
dictate my digestion? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's obviously not the case, right? So, I open up a lot to like these cues, and it's bigger than just food and eating. It is listening to your body's intuition. What does your body want to do? Sometimes I would like lay on the couch and work from there. I still need to work, but or like, do I need a nap? Just these questions, and allowing myself to asking myself these questions and giving into that. Um, that works if you are a quite a disciplined person, which I am. So I have the tendencies to rather be too hard on myself than too soft. I think if you're like a natural couch potato, then maybe that's not your technique. But for
Yeah.
people who usually push themselves too much, and that is often people with autoimmune diseases, then that can be a very nice way to get more in touch with your body.
Very interesting. Yeah. And what does your body say for the upcoming months? Like, Do you have something that you want to achieve? Does it feel like excitement? We're almost in 2026. Do you have any goals?
Actually, that is a good question, and it really ties into a recent experience which I had, which is I'm single, right? So I'm dating, and I've realized that sometimes when I am on a date with someone, I would be very much in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and and that would well not make me really like grounded, obviously, because when you're in your head and you're like thinking like, I mean, thankfully it's not anymore just like, does he like me? So it's also a lot like, do I like him?
Yeah.
um but all this also really gets you a little bit out of the situation. So for like this like next month of the year, I really want to focus on being more in my body, especially in dating, because it's obviously like exciting and you're
Mm.
nervous, but also in my other interactions. Like right now I'm not nervous, we're friends, so I'm not nervous. But even though it's a like cool thing to just be like, how like my body is here, like it's solid, it's like pressing down into the mat,
Mm-hmm.
and just being like more aware of my body just being there in the first place in these
Yeah.
moments and using it as an anchor. So that's a new thing that I want to experiment with when it comes
Nice.
to my body.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's weird sometimes because I'm also very much in my head to be just somewhere with your body without the thoughts. Well, the thoughts are always there for me,
Yeah.
but just be there. Let's
Yes.
feel okay. I feel a bit nervous or I feel excitement or anything like that.
Yes.
It's so cool to listen to that. Like, okay, but I'm on the right place because I feel excitement, I feel joy, I feel all these positive
Yeah.
feelings. And sometimes I'm anxious and then like maybe I should leave this place.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Or maybe I should ask for a hug, like if I feel like so like starved for like touch sometimes.
Mm.
It's just, I mean, I'm not that brave to do that yet, but sometimes I'm just like hanging out with like my male friends and I'm like, oh my God, I just want him to hold me like for a second.
Yeah.
So like not in like a romantic way, just be tall and
Mm.
hold me. I don't know if you get that, but
No,
I get that
honestly
a
not.
lot. No, you don't?
No. Okay, so we have a long story with a lot of dots. But what do you think are the three main dots that brought you here as the Samira
Goals.
today? Dots.
Dots.
The dots.
Yeah. The three main dots in my life. All right.
So the most
Yep.
turning points
Yep.
that brought you here.
I definitely think falling ill is I mean, I can't tell my story without it. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
crucial part and a major turning point of my life. That was one. Um, and then the other one was probably 2019 when I started my first like real business, because the blogging, I mean, it sometimes made some money, sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
didn't. But 2019, I did a few changes in my business. First of all, I did a training as a psychological counselor, so I
Mm-hmm.
could actually coach people. And then also I started another business where I do communication consulting for healthcare companies, which
Mm-hmm.
is actually the job that at the moment is at my main income.
Mm-hmm.
I do that fully remote as well. So I set up my own company and I was thinking, how do I want to work? And it was obviously going to be remote. So now
Mm-hmm.
I consult like very, very big like companies in the healthcare sector about patient communication and how they can use social media to benefit patients' lives.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about that. I like doing it, and it's my main source of income. So that was another big turning point, because for the first time I really started making money,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually could ask myself, what do I want to do with that money? Do I want to learn how to manage? I didn't know how it felt to have money. I didn't know what to do with money. I didn't know how to invest in the stock market. I didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin was or anything like that. Was so for that's like for rich people. That's not for me. I'm and changing that and being like, I mean, you could be Samira. Of course, you can be rich. Of course, you can be wealthy. Rich doesn't just mean financially, but wealthy. Um, so that was a big turning point in
Mm-hmm.
my life, for the first time making actual money. And then I would say the next big turning point in my life was probably 2023, when I left a very challenging relationship that I was in for 4 years, and that was probably good for half of that, for half a year, not
Mm-hmm.
half of the relationship, half a year. Before, it was very challenging, and probably for both of us. I'm not saying like I was like the victim and he was the
Yeah.
bad guy. Like it was just a challenging dynamic that we both probably shouldn't have entered in so starry eyed. and naively. But in the end, everything is a lesson.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but definitely getting out of that, and also like being single again in my mid-30s was definitely like, whoa, what is like it's like almost like learning to walk again after such a long time, knowing where you belong. You belong like by the side of this man on this island in Thailand where we were living, and then finding a new home, finding myself again suddenly as like a woman in her mid-30s. That's just different than 29 when I entered the relationship
Yeah.
with this person. And this has like brought so much like self-development and plant medicine and like breaking free and really becoming myself. So it was like a shedding almost, and that came with like this whole like my, like would say, my physical transformation. And I've worked out since many many years now, but actually like becoming like a gym bro, as you call me.
You're really a gym bro now. Yeah.
That just happened after this breakup, so it really led me to fully embrace who I am. So these are the 3 points. Yeah. Illness, building my business, and then leaving the relationship.
Yeah. So 2 are quite hard. Like you're not in control of those things.
Yeah.
Like one is of course setting up your business. You did yourself. It's a
Yeah.
big achievement. But the illness and the breakup, it's not something you control. And what is your? I would like the last question I would ask is like, what's the advice for people going through that now, going through maybe some illness where they feel like I'm never gonna be healthy again, or a breakup that I'm never going to be happy again? What's
Yeah.
your biggest advice to them?
When I did my yoga teacher training, the teacher told me, the bad news is nothing stays. The good news is nothing stays.
Yeah.
So knowing that everything, everything in your life will always be temporary only is, if you can't hold on to anything in your life, hold on to that knowledge. It will not be forever. It will change. And as time passes, you will learn to live with whatever is right now. And I'm not saying you have to turn it into your accelerator and you have to turn it into a blessing and it needs to be the best thing that happened to you. You may not be able to see that right now. And who knows, maybe it just sucks and it's not going to be the biggest blessing, but you will move on from it. It will not be taking up your whole life forever.
Interesting. Yeah. So cool. One woman to me some they told me time will tell, and always I keep holding that thought, like time will tell.
Yes.
Just sit with it.
I get goosebumps.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like that someone says something to you and it will keep you going for life. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Leanne.
It was really interesting to talk to you about all this stuff. And
yeah, good luck with your project. I'm so excited to hear the other dots.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please hit a like and a subscribe button and follow me on social media, and I see you in the next one.